So last season with our FC Argos side, we finished 3rd place in the Champions playoff, which means we have qualified for the Europa Conference League this season, which I'm hoping to do okay, and I'm not expecting huge amounts of success, but if we can get out of the group stages, that will be perfect, because what we need to try and do is actually progress the coefficients of Romanian football. Now, we should be good enough to keep basically plugging away, winning the league, getting into Europe, things like that over the next few seasons, which means now we need to focus on coefficients. And in order to do that, we have done a little bit of strengthening. 5 players have joined the club so far. It's the 1st of July. All of them have joined on free transfers. Mamadou Sanogo is the first up, 20-year-old Malian right winger from Academy JMG Mali. If you don't know where to find decent young Malian footballers, go to that team. They're always very, very good. Physically, Sanogo is an absolute beast. He is very fast, very agile, just ridiculously quick, isn't he? Also, 16 dribbling, 14 first touch as well. Mentally, determination, teamwork, and work rate all ridiculously high. Sanogo could be very, very good for us. We have also signed a young Ivorian central defender called Philippe Touré. Probably not going to be playing a huge amount for us at the moment, but he's come in as a backup, actually dropped straight down into the under-19s. Similar situation with Ikenna Aziz, who is a Nigerian right winger and striker. I'm not quite sure whether he should be a right winger or a striker, but he's only 20. He's dropped down to the under-19s at the moment. Hopefully we can probably try and loan him out for a season. That would be the kind of the goal for Ikenna, is to loan him out for a season, get him some first team football, ideally playing in Romania as well, but we'll see. We've also brought in Dmitro Masalov, who's a 19-year-old Ukrainian defensive midfielder, central midfielder, centre-back. I think he's more of a centre-back, but his aerial ability is not very good. 9 jumping reach, 6 heading, maybe he's not a centre-back, but that's kind of what I see him as for some reason. But he's come in free transfer from, from them. Not even going to try and pronounce it. I think he's good. He's certainly going to be getting some game time. We've also brought in ourselves a very good left-back and left-winger, although we're going to be playing him as a left-back predominantly. Bruno Langa is a 30-year-old Mozambican international with 50 caps and 2 goals to his name. 211 appearances for his last club, Chaves, over in, I want to say, Portugal. And he's good, right? He's going to be very good. 3.5-star current ability. Not going to get any better, obviously, at the age of 30, but he is a good left-back, and I think it's a position that we've been missing for a couple of seasons now. Obviously, it's still very early days in the season and in the transfer window. We have got £6.8 million to spend. We do not have the reputation to be able to spend that money. So I'm expecting that number might drop down to maybe 5 million, because we could spend a couple of million on a whole bunch of decent youngsters for the future, but we're not going to be able to spend £6 million on a really good sort of defensive midfielder or something like that. So financially, we're in a very good position. Speaking of, I don't think I actually mentioned this. A couple of seasons ago now, we moved back into our Nikolai Dobrin Stadium, which was rebuilt in 2026. It's now 15,200 all-seater capacity, which we are basically selling out every match at the moment, so we might look at trying to expand that. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't mention with Bruno Langa, he's now the highest earner, which means some people have had their match highest earner clauses triggered. Tyler Morton being one of them, still at the club, still looking very, very good. Hopefully we get another season out of him. I fear we're not going to get too much more out of Morton though. I think some Premier League or Championship side's going to come in, and if they offer like 3 million, we're probably going to have to just take it. Karamoko Sankara has also triggered a match highest earner clause, so he's also on £9,500 a week, which I'm fine. To be honest, I'm perfectly fine with those 2 players getting paid that amount of money, because they are the ones who are getting us the assists and getting us the goals. From a competition perspective, we actually do have to qualify for the Europa Conference League, and we should be good enough. We genuinely should be good enough to qualify. We have to play La Fiorita or Zimrud Chisinau from Moldova, which I think we're probably going to be playing the Moldovan side, and I think it's maybe 1 round after that and we should be in the Europa Conference League. So I'm hopeful that we should be able to do that. Let's jump forward to the end of the summer transfer window, where we would have played all of our Europa League qualifiers. We would have played a few matches in the league as well. Well, the league season has not started particularly well at all. Down in 7th place. 4 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats. Not ideal. We've lost against teams above us as well, which is, I guess, even worse, really. We're okay. We're not in a bad position, but it's certainly not started well. FCSB are flying. 9 matches played for them, 7 wins, 2 defeats. They are 21 points. They are, 6 points clear of 2nd place after 9 games. They are absolutely flying. Let's take a look to see what transfers we've done. We've sold a lot of players. Emmanuel Onyekuru has gone to Siroki Brijeg. Matthias Kite has gone to Dynamo Bucharest. Samba Diatra has gone to Anthorsi for £45,000. Dorian Rotariu has gone to Kisvada. Diego has moved on over to Spezia for potentially £1.2 million. I kind of basically decided to pull the plug on this experiment because he wasn't really working as a right winger. We don't play central attacking midfielders, which means Diego, he's never going to fit the system. We've got a fair amount of money from him. I think there's sell-ons in there as well, so I'm quite happy. 700,000 potentially to 1.2. This one might be a mistake. We've sold Ousmane Kamara, who scored 70 goals and 140 league appearances for us. He's gone to Al Weda in Saudi Arabia for £2.9 million, potentially rising to £3.2 million. I decided we need to sell him because he is out of contract soon and he doesn't necessarily want to sign a new one, and we've got some players coming through that arguably we could just replace him. He's only 22. What my brain's telling me he's about 30. He's 22. How is he 22? He's been playing since 2022. He's been playing for 6 years. He's been playing since he's 16. And that is basically it. We've loaned out some players as well, like Diawara, Zazua has gone out on loan. Povelson has gone out on loan to Esbjerg as well. Abraham Romero, he's gone out on loan once again because we brought him and we just can't register him, basically. That's the problem. So with our squad, this is what I'm actually going to lock into play for the rest of the season. We're going to play Langer as the left back. I've got to lock him in there because basically they play him as a left winger. So we're going to put Langer in. We've got Sonogo on that right-hand side who's currently out injured, but obviously we know he looks very good. On the left, we are trying Cosmin Pop. Who came through our youth intake in the first season or so. And he's played a fair amount over the last few years. He's played a fair amount, but we are force playing him every single game this season to see how much he can improve. We do need to get our own players coming through the youth intakes and actually getting first team football. So looking at the results, it's not been awful, has it? It's not been terrible. We've just had a very poor run of form here once we got into the Europa Conference League by the looks of it. So we beat Zimbra Chisinau 2-0 and 4-2. We beat Hibs 3-0 on aggregate. We beat Espanyol. That's a massive win. That's absolutely massive. So Jacques and Dai, we've got Rax Saki scoring twice and Tyler Morton scoring a goal as well in the first leg. In the second leg, a 92nd minute winner from Tyler Morton was, I mean, we were already through technically at that point anyway, but it does not matter. So we've done all right, but then we just had this weird FCSB, FC Rapid, Universitatea Craiova sort of mess in the middle. But we've had a busy month of August, so maybe it's not so bad. So the matches we have to play in the Europa Conference League, there is only 6 of them. It is Portimonense, it is Cups from Finland, it is Ammonia from Greece or Cyprus, I think it's Cyprus, it is Lechia from Poland, Astana from Kazakhstan, yes, and CSKA Sofia from, where? Bulgaria, that's the one. They're all winnable. They're all winnable games. If we can beat Espanyol, they're all winnable games. Well, with that in mind, then, we are going to jump to the end of the kind of the winter season up until the winter break, which is around December time, isn't it? So let's jump forward to that, and hopefully we've improved on our 7th place. Not really. Not really at all. We are up to 6th place, but Sepsi are behind us, and they have 3 games in hand somehow. I don't know how they got so many games in hand. We've drawn 8 matches. We are drawing so many games, 5 defeats now, which actually isn't terrible. We seem to have turned around our kind of poor form when it comes to defeats, but we've turned them into draws rather than wins. So ignoring the Europa Conference League for the moment, we can see that when September rolled around, we did all right. Actually, we kind of went unbeaten, but we drew with Hermestad, we drew with Voluntari. Into October, we did not pick up. We picked up 1 point out of a possible 9 in October. Obviously, the Romanian Cup in the middle, not ideal, but it looks like we've been knocked out of that as well, which is not good, losing to Hermestad and Petrolo Pliozzi, which is, again, a team that I cannot pronounce the name of. And then into November, we actually did, again, okay, but those draws against this team, I can never say their name, and Craiova, not good. Against Cluj and Universitatea Craiova, once again, can't say the name, not good. Dropping lots and lots of points. Are we kind of conceding late, or are we scoring late? So that's a late goal we scored. That's just a draw. What about that one? That's, again, just a draw. No, they didn't score any goals somehow. That's weird, and they still drew 2-2. Europa Conference League, however, has been a very different story. 3-1 against Portimonense, 4-1 against Cups, 2-1 against Ammonia, 3-0 against Lecce, 1-0 against Astana, and a 4-2 win against CSKA Sofia, which means we actually won. We won the league phase. We go through with Nice, Randers, Spurs, Cologne, Hearts, Maccabi Tel Aviv, and Adana from Turkey. So we are through to the first knockout round. So we don't know what our odds are of where we're expected to go and how far into this competition we're expected to go. But the fact that we finished top has suddenly made me a little bit more excited that we can do something half decent. Semi-finals, maybe. Quarterfinals, probably. Maybe. Is the final a stretch? The final's a stretch. It's going to be somebody like Spurs Nice in the final, isn't it? And Anderlecht going to get through as well. Savett, not a terrible side. Bromby, not a terrible side. Midtjylland, not a terrible side either. So, I mean, there's not massive teams through, though. There's not the usual big kind of... There's no big Spanish sides got through. In fact, there's no Spanish sides in there at all. What happened there? Anyway, we're going to jump forward now to the other side of the January transfer window. We have, by the way, nearly £10 million to spend. And as I said earlier, in the summer, nobody wants to join us. We just don't have the reputation to be able to spend that amount of money. So I imagine in January we're probably not going to. Okay, I lied a little bit. We did spend some money. So Jorgen Fjeldskar is a Norwegian right-back who's been signed from Sogndal. He's cost about £400,000, I think, in total, 375 once we do the add-ons and various things like that. He's not necessarily going to be playing every single match, but we needed a decent backup right back. I think Fjeldskar does a job. We also needed to bring in ourselves a half-decent backup centre-back as well. Justin Chi, or Shea, not quite sure, 25-year-old American, formerly of OB. I think he actually got released because of the way their season runs. Their season ends in kind of December. He was then out of contract from OB. We've picked him up on a free transfer. Not expecting him to play a huge amount. I think he is. There you go. He's part German and Cameroonian, so he doesn't need himself a work permit, which is good. And we've also managed to pick up ourselves a very good and brand new Ivorian striker with 5 caps to his name. And at 20 years of age, Karamoko Kamgate has signed from Sepsi in our league. Yes, we are weakening the sides around us. He's been very good for them. We have spent £2.9 million on him. He scored 18 goals in his first season, 9 in 14 so far this season. We have stolen him from Sepsi in an attempt to make us better and them weaker. I'm not going to lie, it kind of goes against the rules of building a nation, but we need to do something to turn our form around. Because we have played a few more matches as well this calendar year, and we are in 8th place. Bear in mind, top 6 is the Champions Group. Anything 7th down to 16th, I believe, is the relegation group. We do not want to be in the relegation group. That's going to be awful if we're in that. So calendar year-wise has started off absolutely horrendously. We've lost to FCSB, we've lost to Rapid, we've lost to Ferrokostanda, we've beat Hermannstad, and then we've lost to Petrolor Pliotsi. We've picked up 3 points from a possible, 12? It's not even 12, from 3 points from 15. That is awful. That is absolutely horrendous. I'm just checking. The board don't think we should get sacked yet. The supporters are fine. The supporters are happy. They want mid-table. The board, they're okay. They're C+. It's not awful. Well, I guess the next thing we're going to do then is jump to the end of the regular season, see how well we've done, and I just hope we're in the top 6. I don't want to be in a relegation group. We're not getting relegated. That's not going to happen. But I just don't want to be in that relegation group because it basically means we're fighting for nothing for the final 10 games of the season. Well, the fact that we look at the Champions playoff and there is no FC Arges in there says to me we finished 7th or below, didn't we? Which is not ideal. We finished 8th place, 21 points, so that'll be 42 points. Were we even close? We weren't even close. That's 48, but we were 6 points off the pace. That's not good. It's really not good. And technically, we can get relegated because the points get halved. Everything suddenly gets a little bit closer. We then have to play, I assume, 18 more matches of this season in order to not get ourselves relegated, which might be better for player development because we should win most of them, shouldn't we? We should win most of them. We should finish 1st or 2nd in the relegation group. What's happened in the Europa Conference League? We drew Dunstredder and beat them 7-4. Okay, then. We beat them 7-4. So is that... So the knockout round, which we were not in, because that's these teams here. So Spezia, Midtjylland, Legia, PTM, Kukuriki, Bromby, Dunstredder, and Shamrock Rovers. Anyone big get knocked out? Not really. Anderlecht, I guess, is quite a sizable knockout there. In the round of 16, we've got Midtjylland knocking out Hearts. Spurs knocking out Bromby, which, that's big, that's useful. Because Bromby are a decent side. We knock out Dunstredder. Adana knocking out Legia is pretty decent. Nice battering Kukuriki. Randers beating Portimonense. Spezia just about edging past Colm. That's a big one as well. And Shamrock Rovers, fair play to them, getting to the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League. And we don't know who we're going to play. And we are actually going to keep it a secret as to what happens, because I'm just going to go straight to the end of the season in a minute. I just want to kind of draw your attention to our youth intakes, by the way. We are not getting good ones. Even though it says an excellent youth intake and golden generation this and everything like that, no one's any good because the quality of the league is kind of determining the quality of the players that are coming through. The quality of the nation is determining the quality of players. So they might be okay for sort of low-down Romanian top division sides. However, we're not a low-down Romanian top division side. Ignore what's going on this season. We want to be getting players that are going to improve us, and we're just not getting them at the moment. If we sort by potential ability in our under-18s, and I know this isn't kind of particularly it doesn't tell you everything, it doesn't tell you the whole story. We've literally got this man, Marius Popescu, who looked alright. He doesn't look amazing, doesn't look bad. 17 years of age. I think he came through a couple of seasons ago. Everyone else, Teodoro I signed, Diawara I signed. We've got this man here who's 19, who, again, doesn't look awful, might be good enough to get some game time, but when you consider the strikers that we have, Christea, nowhere near that quality, so he's never going to play for us. Speaking of, I did kind of change up the tactics slightly when it comes to the players that we're forced playing because it wasn't really working. Cosmin Pop didn't really do enough on that left-hand side, so I actually moved Sankara to play on that left-hand side. This is when Kamgate came in. So Kamgate now, I believe, is playing there as the lead striker, and then next to him, he's got, I think Jinjak and Dai is playing next to him, or maybe Ferdi Droif. Right then, let's jump to the end of the season, see how well we do in the Romanian First League, see how far we can get as well in the Europa Conference League. We've been knocked out of the Romanian Cup as well. We might get sacked, you know, guys. We might actually get sacked. So it has been a very interesting time between when we last spoke and the end of the season. We have won the relegation group, and we've qualified for the Europa League. And that is because we won the European Places Playoff Final, which qualifies us for the Europa League. Or should I say, it actually qualifies us for the Europa Conference League. And that is because we are now in the Europa League because we won the Europa Conference League. We won the Europa Conference League. We beat Nice in the final. What's happened? What has actually gone on here? So we beat Dunstreda. We know we beat Dunstreda. We then beat Adana on penalties. On penalties. 3-3 on aggregate. We go through on penalties. We're then in the quarterfinal. Midtjylland 5-4. A 5-4 on aggregate win. Shamrock Rovers getting to the semi-finals, by the way, is nuts as well. And then we beat Nice in the final 2-1. What's happened? What has actually gone on? Jinjak and Dai scored a goal in the 95th minute to win the Europa Conference League. We were not even very good. We got battered. We got absolutely battered. And we managed to nick a win. We've won the Europa Conference League. In what world are we good enough to do this? I am so confused as to what's gone on here. So we won the Europa Conference League, but then we had to qualify for Europe as well. We had the European qualification spot, which we beat UTA, Arad, and then Rapid in the final. Once again, Jinjak and Dai with the goals. How? What has happened? What has gone on here? I'm so confused. So looking at the Adana game, we won comfortably on penalties by the look of it. In fact, they pushed it to penalties in the 92nd minute. Then Midtjylland 4-3. I mean, we, again, very comfortable. We were actually 4-0 up after 36 minutes and then kind of let them back into the game in the second leg. A 107th minute equaliser, or winner, should I say, from Jinjak. Why am I calling him Jinjak? It's just Jacques and Dai. Jacques and Dai is he's the business. He's the absolute business. This man has won us the Europa League. He's won us the Europa League. He's won us the European Places Playoff Final as well. I mean, he scored a hat-trick there with 2 goals after 90 minutes. What's gone on? So Midtjylland was that, and then Nice, obviously we've just seen the final. Jacques and Dai in the 95th minute. Karamoko Kamgate as well getting on the score sheet. What has gone on there? What has actually gone on? I am in shock. I'm intrigued to know what the board think. The board are on a B-. They want a B-, okay. And the supporters are also on a B-. We've just won the Europa Conference League, guys. Only like 8 teams have ever won this. And when you look at the list of teams that have actually won this, so Roma and West Ham obviously real life winning it. Villa, Chelsea, Man United, FC Midtjylland is a fairly sizable step down. Back up to Atletico Madrid. And then little old FC Arges from Romania. How has this team, FC Arges, how has this team won the Europa Conference League? That's ridiculous. Anyway, as we do at the end of every season, we'll take a look to see how well some players have got on. And Jacques and Dai, obviously, the man of the hour. 16 Europa Conference League goals in 15 starts. 16 goals, 4 assists. That's ridiculous. In the league, he got 8 goals in 30 starts, 24 goals in all competitions, 14 assists as well. Jack and Dye's numbers were definitely bumped up by that Europa Conference League run, but I don't care. I love this man. He's amazing at football. Karamoko Sankara scored 13 goals in the league, 6 in the Europa Conference League, 22 in all competitions. We just weren't scoring the goals, I think, was the problem. In the league, we were just not scoring the goals that we needed to be scoring. Ferdy Droyf at the age of 31, still chipping in with 19 goals in all competitions. Again, though, 9 in the league. He did only start 11, but 12 off the bench. 9 goals in the league when we think last season he got 10. The season before that, he got 21. We are slowly declining when it comes to scoring goals, which is not good. Raksaki as well, getting 7 league goals, 5 in the Europa Conference League, 12 in all competitions. Started only 17, played 35. I guess we weren't. He's kind of our right winger, isn't he? And we kind of force-played someone else in that right wing position, which is fine. Raksaki did okay. I'm not massively convinced he's going to get better than this. He's 26 now. Tyler Morton as well, chipping in with 9 goals and 10 assists in 63 appearances he made in all competitions. That's a lot, mate. That's a lot of appearances. Fair play. Sonogo from the right-hand side, 4 in the Europa Conference League, 4 in the Romanian League, 10 assists as well in all competitions. So not really getting the goals that we were hoping from that right-hand side, but he's still young, still only 21 years of age. 29 appearances now in the league for us, obviously joining in the summer. I think he's fine. I don't think we can kind of put too much pressure on him at the moment. Kamgate, however, it says he scored 15 in 33. The problem is most of those were actually for Sepsi. He scored 6 in 19 for us, which I'm not happy with. For £2.9 million, which isn't a massive amount of money, but it is for a team of our size and our league. That's not good enough. I want double figures from you. In 15 games, I want 10 goals at least. Somebody else to mention, not for the goals, however, is Bruno Langa with 19 assists in all competitions, 10 assists in the Europa League, 8 in the Romanian First League as well. I mean, I think this was a good signing. I genuinely think this was a good signing. He is getting on a bit, though. Somebody else as well, Supanat Munyenta, the Thai international, actually has played a few games, coming off the bench a few times, scoring 3 goals in 1 start and 7 off the bench, which I think 2 of them are actually in 1 game. I quite like him, but he just doesn't really... He's not good enough for us. But he's good, right? Maybe? We'll probably sell him. Well, that is going to do it then for Season 6, a season of an unexpected Europa Conference League win. Next year, what are our objectives? What do we want to be doing? We have to be finishing in the top 6. We have to really be challenging for the title. And I kind of want to be challenging as well in the Europa League. Now that I know we can win a European competition, I've got my sights set high, guys. I got my sights set very high, and I kind of want to win the Europa League. I feel like we're getting knocked out in the group stages, aren't we? Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one.